Hey enablers, Mike Kunkel here. Welcome to this week's edition of Sales Enablement Straight Talk. This week, I want to share why you should be more than an order taker to make an impact with your enablement efforts. Let's dive right in. Let me start with a story that happens far too often in our profession. It starts with a simple request, not a problem statement, mind you, but an order for a solution. An executive says, Karen, our team needs sales training. Then there's the how high jump, where Karen says, absolutely, I'll vet vendors and pick the best one for us. Well, then Karen does vet some vendors, picks one based on her sense of what will work. She gets approval, though, and then purchases the training and schedules and starts the training rollout. Now, while this takes place, of course, costs mount. This includes the time and effort spent vetting, the training purchase itself, of course, and instructors, plus the possible travel expenses, the usual suspects, flights, ground transportation, hotel rooms, food and beverage, entertainment, etc. We won't even talk about the opportunity loss for a solution that may or may not be the right one. And the result? Well, if the sales training was not the right solution to the undiscussed and unanalyzed performance problem, or if the training selected was not the right methodology to close the gap, or if it was not taught first to managers and then summarily reinforced and coached post-training, well, then there's no change in behavior or performance and therefore no ROI. Look, as you already know and has been slyly mentioned above, there are several possible reasons for the enablement failure in this scenario. Things like the performance issue may not have been a problem that training could solve. The selected training may have been the wrong content for the problem, meaning it might have been a training need, but the wrong training was selected. Or it might be a lack of sustainment, application and transfer, and or coaching to mastery. And the list goes on. But the truth is, in this scenario, as described so far, we just don't know. Why? Well, because of the reason at hand in this video today. Our sales enabler, Karen, was an order taker. She was a good soldier and simply responded to a request for training and did what she was asked. She vetted vendors for some sort of cultural fit, perhaps, but she did no analysis and did not explore the reason for the request. She was handed a solution, not a problem. Here's another story. If you followed my work for a while, you may have heard this one before. I usually tell it for another reason, but it works here as well. I was once approached by the CEO of a large middle market firm. Here's how the discussion went. The CEO says, Mike, can you teach our sales managers how to coach? I said, sure. How do you know that's what they need? He said, well, we just got the results of our annual 360-degree survey, and all of our reps say they're not being coached. I said, okay, good data point. Can I talk to your managers? And so I did a focus group with a good number of frontline sales managers. As part of that, I had them take a survey on the way in, which we discussed in detail in the focus group. We assembled a list of everything that corporate and their sales leaders were asking them to do. Then we added conservative time estimates for those tasks. Folks, it totaled 110 hours a week. 110. No one was doing that, of course. Well, except for one newly promoted manager who was burning himself to a crisp. The others were prioritizing the things, in their words, that would get them yelled at by corporate if they didn't do. Do you know what none of those tasks included? Yeah, you guessed it, coaching. The executive team made some good decisions based on that focus group, and it turned out that the managers did also need some training on coaching skills. So we removed barriers, trained managers, and put some systems in place with cadences and got some great results. So it did all end well. But think about what a waste of time, energy, and money it would have been had I just trained the managers how to coach. And this is exactly why, as enablers, that we must be more than order takers. Getting past being an order taker is what will help you make an impact with enablement. It will help you become an expert at root cause analysis, at front end analysis, or needs analysis. This goes by a lot of names. It doesn't matter what you call it, but it is diagnostic in nature. You are analyzing the performance problems. And there are tools that you can use for these sorts of things as well. The performance analysis flow chart from Meagher and Pipe's book, Analyzing Performance Problems. The solutions chart from my course on coaching excellence, which is a derivative of the work of Ferdinand Fournier. These are the types of tools that you can use to support yourself in learning how to become a performance consultant. This is something you may find very helpful as well. It's from the International Society of Performance Improvement, or ISPI, at ispi.org. And this is simply their model for what they call Human Performance Technology, or HPT. The Association for Talent Development, or ATD, at td.org also has what they call the ATD Human Performance Improvement Model. It's very similar in nature to what you just saw from ISPI. Now, there are other models as well, but they almost all have these same basic big moving parts, as I call it. It starts with identifying that what you're working on is a problem worth solving, and then doing the diagnostics or gap analysis and root cause analysis to get to the real root of the performance gap, and then doing problem solving to figure out what is the very best solution to close this gap. Then it's the development of that solution, implementation using good change management principles, and getting into a loop of measuring results, evaluating progress, and as necessary, adjusting the path forward. This is how you truly get to the bottom of a performance problem, implement the right solution, and continue with it until you see the results that you're looking for. Another tool that you can use is what I refer to as a situation assessment. This is basically just a consulting model that I've adapted to use in both selling as a discovery model in modern sales foundations or for sales enablement work as well. Basically, you're identifying what is the current state and the challenges, opportunities, or impacts of that state. What is the desired future state with the outcomes and priority of those outcomes in terms of importance. And then that helps you identify the needs with a gap analysis. What would you have to do to cross that chasm between point A and point B to get to the desired future state? Those are the needs. And that's the COIN-OP acronym that I refer to often: challenges, opportunities, impacts, needs, outcomes, and priorities. If you've got that and you can identify and dollarize the impacts, then you can have the basis to form a compelling business case as well, and possibly even project the ROI, or return on investment, for your initiative. This is another great tool that you can use. If you follow my work and are a fan of the building blocks of sales enablement, I often teach enablers to use the building blocks as a diagnostic tool. If you have done a situation assessment and you know the current state and the desired future state, then you can begin to assess the building blocks first in their importance to helping move from point A to point B, because some will be more important than others for this particular journey that you want to go on. And then you can assess how well the blocks are in place compared to what they need to be to help close that gap. And that helps you not just prioritize, but then understand which blocks you have to close and what you need to do to close them. So you're almost doing a situation assessment again on the building blocks themselves. This is a great way to use the blocks as a diagnostic tool to help close performance gaps. There are a lot of other tools, of course, but the point that I'm trying to get across today in this video on avoiding being an order taker is to really evolve to take a tip from the medical profession. The Hippocratic Oath starts with first, do no harm. And then every doctor, hopefully, does diagnostics before they prescribe. And these are great tips for the sales enablement profession as well. First, do no harm. Don't leap forward into a solution that's just recommended by someone without at least doing some analysis to determine that's the right solution. Now, the person you're speaking with may have already gone through this. They may have a strong rationale for the solution they're asking you to implement. So just ask some questions about that perhaps to get started. But first, do no harm. Don't just leap forward to implement something without truly understanding why and what you're trying to solve for. And then, of course, when you're digging into that, you diagnose first, and this is part of the beginning of that process, but then all of these other tools that I share are things that you can use to ensure that you get to a root cause and then design and develop the right solution and implement it effectively. First, do no harm, and then diagnose first before you prescribe. Well, that's it for this video today, enablers. Thanks for watching. And as always, stay the course out there and make an impact with enablement. Enablers, if you need help with some of the things that we've talked about here today, I do offer advisory services and coaching to guide you toward your best possible performance, either as an individual enabler or your entire department to assist your sales force in getting the best possible results this year. Here's some information about me and places to find my content or how to contact me if you'd like to follow up or have questions about this presentation or would like advisory services or coaching support. This is an example of general advisory services and coaching programs. Pause as needed to review. And here are some examples of structured timeline programs as well. Again, pause as needed. And thanks again for being here.